Hey man,
Hey, what's going on? I guess this has been an eventful afternoon to say the least, huh?
well, morning. I woke up and the first thing I did was get out of bed and write this article. The very first thing.
Well, I shouldn't say I forget you're in Australia. It's just I forget sometimes the time difference. So it's a day for me. It's an afternoon, or it's an
Yeah.
afternoon for me. It's a morning for you. Oh man, this is in case people haven't heard, Clippers just signed Paul Pierce to the mini mid-level exception, 3 years, just shy of 11 million. So.
which is a
Uh,
bargain, like compared to a lot of the contracts going down.
It's a wild bargain. It's probably the second best bargain among actual like unrestricted free agents, outside of Brandon Wright to Memphis for 6 million a year.
Danny Green was a pretty good contract too. The Spurs got him
Yeah,
on.
yeah. Danny Green was a really good contract, but I guess I should say like among guys who switch teams, I guess is
Yeah,
what I should say. They were the Clippers got like, is Paul Pierce what he was 5 years ago? No, but the Clippers don't need him to be what he was 5 years ago.
they literally need a guy who, like, in the playoffs last year, teams were cheating off Barnes. They didn't really care if he caught the ball to shoot, and even though he shot well during the season, they weren't scared of him. It was sort of like just let him beat us, but there's no team that's going to be like, oh, we'll just let Paul Pierce beat us. Like, if Paul Pierce can beat us, that's fine.
Yeah, yeah. Like you're not going to go into a game going, "Oh man, if Paul Pierce is taking wide open corner threes, we're fine." Like, no, you're not saying that. Like that's not one of the things you're going to be pretty much cool with.
Probably the biggest thing is Pierce is a worse defender than Barnes at this stage, probably.
Yeah, I feel like Barnes was kind of underrated in terms of like the defense after a while. Like people like would give him crap because he was an elite defender, but he
He's not bad.
competed and
He's
he
good.
made guys' lives a little bit tougher than it should have been. I mean, what was it called? I looked it up just before we came on here. It was like the starting lineup for the Clippers last year. So we're talking, Paul, Reddick, Barnes, Griffin, Jordan played almost, I think it was like 1,200 minutes last year or something like that. And
Also, most in the
they're,
league.
yeah, it was by far the first in the league. But they played 1,200 minutes last year, and their offensive rating was basically 118. Which, and this is the thing with Pierce is, yeah, he's gonna give you more offensive punch, but that's an absurd number to try to top.
Yeah, they're not going to top it. It's really this signing was just for the playoffs. Like last year's team
Yeah.
was fine for the regular season. This is like 7 game series, and a team starts saying, "Okay, we've got to pick one player to beat us." It used to be Barnes. Now it's, well, who do you want to beat them?
Right. Pierce shot 42% last year on corner threes, so that's what the Clippers are getting.
And then those random
So
pull-up jumpers.
yeah, he takes some like it's funny. He takes some bad like. I don't think you can like. This is why moving Jamal makes sense because I don't think you can have Pierce, Lance, and Jamal on the same team.
Oh no, you
That's a
can't.
that's a lot of pull-up jumpers.
Yeah, nah. But the thing about the Pierce signing is, even though it's worse on defense, you can always go the offense-defense subs with Stevenson, because Stevenson's still a great defender.
Yeah, and actually the real interesting thing now is with Pierce, it gives you a little bit more flexibility where if you want to get crazy, you can go. That's not even that crazy. You can just go Paul, Reddick, Lance at the 3 in small ball lineups, Pierce at the 4,
Griffin,
Jordan or Griffin at the 5. If you
yeah,
want to really do anything like that, because Jordan at the 5, which we'll get into in a minute about Jordan, but Jordan at the 5 in the pick and roll game with Chris, like who do you help off of?
yeah.
I
Or
mean,
even
you're
if
gonna have to help. You're gonna help off of Lance because he's basically the new Barnes.
yeah, but if
But
Lance can play like anything close to what he did at Indiana, like you couldn't help with him because he was so good attacking off the dribble, even.
right, and he was actually hitting spot up threes,
Yeah,
which that's what you like. Basically, like that's what the Clippers need. Like, and I said it like when we first traded for him. I remember saying it on a podcast, like because I remember being upset. You remember me? I was mad we traded for him. But then I said on a podcast later that night, I was like, I go, I guess the ceiling for Lance on this team is like if he plays to what he could play, he'd basically be the lesser Draymond Green.
yeah, smaller version.
Yeah, and it's like, and that's fine. and it's just going to take a lot to unlock that. And there's a fine line between that and what we got last year.
And even if Stevenson isn't good, I didn't mind the deal just because his contract's shorter than Hawes's. You can drop that deal at the end of this season, I think.
Right, and this is a really awesome deal for the Clippers for Pierce. It's 2 years and a third-year team option.
Yeah.
So and even if you pick up the third-year team option, even when he's going to be 40, it's like, who cares, man? It's $3.5 million.
That could be the best minimum under the new cap. $3 million.
That could be the minimum under the new cap. It's going to be absurd. Yeah, I mean, and like I said, we're going to get into Jordan in a minute. But the Pierce signing does dictate some things. A, it sounds like they really are trying to move Jamal. B, maybe it means they have a commitment from Jordan. I felt they had a commitment from at least Jordan and maybe Pierce when they traded Barnes and Hawes.
Well, it was funny how as soon as the Pierce news came out, the very next tweet about Jordan was, the Clippers have always been the front runner. Jordan told them that he was going to re-sign with them and that it would take another team to move him. Whereas everything before Pierce dropped, the rumors were Jordan's thinking about the Mavs, Jordan's thinking about the Lakers. Like, that one bit of news changed all the rumors and the perspective of the rumors.
Yeah, it's really funny because I remember before the offseason actually fully kicked off, I was like, I can find the tweet later, but I made mention of something like, I think free agents just float the idea of Dallas to freak the main team out. Like, oh man, Dallas wants him, Dallas has money, no taxes, etc. And it's like, I think the players just want some level of love.
Yeah.
It reminds me of when Eric Gordon was courted by Phoenix and he told New Orleans not to match the offer to him. Like, it was just because Phoenix made him feel wanted. And sometimes that's all you want, is to feel like somebody wants you.
How much more promotional stuff can Doc Rivers really do for Jordan, though?
I don't know. I don't think that. I remember when I did DJ's exit interview for the Clippers on Clips Nation, and I remember writing like, I don't think DJ's leaving just because I don't think it makes sense, and I still don't think he's leaving. But the closer you get to his decision, you start your mind starts going, oh, he's leaving. He's like you start becoming pessimistic.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing, like people always, people were like, oh, Griffin and Paul didn't take meetings, when they became free agents with the Clippers. Like, yeah, but they didn't need to. Like, they were always going to stay. Whereas with Jordan, it's like, this is his first real foray into the free agency process. Because remember, he was a restricted free agent. He just signed with Golden State, and the Clippers matched. So this is the first time he's really delved into it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm going to apologize. There's about to be a massive train going by.
Oh, good.
And for some reason, I cannot mute this right now. So for everybody watching live, I apologize.
It's really good podcasting. It just shows how anything can happen when you go live.
We call this the hot take train.
All right, you got to say hot take right now.
Oh, hot take. All right, the train's already – I'm sorry about that, everybody. But, yeah, so I think Jordan – I think he'll stay. I hope he stays. And I can honestly say I will not be mad if he leaves. I think I'll be one of the few who won't be mad.
Well, he's in unrestricted free agency for the first time. It's unrestricted free agency is when you say, okay, it's finally your choice. You can do what you want. So imagine if you were stuck in a job for how long? 8 years? Has he been playing?
7, I think.
Yeah, and then at the end of that 7 or 8 years, you're told, okay, you can go anywhere you want now, and everyone wants you. Do you think you'd stay at your job? Like, if you loved it, you might, but you're always going to consider other jobs.
That's the thing. I think people people see the fact he's taking meetings and just think he's leaving. It's like, no, this is the process. Like, you're going to take the meetings. LaMarcus Aldridge was going to take the meetings. Carmelo Anthony was going to take the meetings. LeBron took the meetings last year. It's like, these guys take the meetings because you kind of have to. Well,
even if you hit free agency again, or if you want to be traded or something, you know which teams you like or which teams have interest in you.
Right. It's always interesting to see how teams operate in this market. This just in addition to Sacramento, at least 2 teams have engaged Rajon Rondo. Unclear who at this point, but Sacramento's still his favorite.
Knicks.
One of the things I always found interesting, though, with the Rondo thing was, would Rondo take the minimum to play for Doc to rebuild his image?
What, come off the bench?
Yeah.
Imagine Rondo and Stevenson in the backcourt. Like, that would be
I'd probably vomit on a nightly basis, and that's one of those things where, like, from a talent standpoint, it's like, oh my God, yeah. But then from a basketball standpoint, like, no.
Negative spacing.
It would be negative space. Yeah, there'd be no reason to even. Yeah. Like, I don't even know if Rondo and Chris Paul can play together.
So, Arash Markazi before said that Clippers are trying to move Jamal Crawford. They've picked up his option, they've picked up his contract, which makes sense because.
Yeah, the deadline was yesterday. Yesterday.
They're trying to move him. They're struggling to find a deal that makes sense.
Did he just tweet that? That's
about 20 minutes ago, I think.
Yeah, that's not even. Yeah, it's not shocking.
Yeah. Anyway,
like, Crawford's gonna be hard to move. Like, I was looking around, it's like there's players out there that are interested or interesting in that price range for him to trade this. Like,
is apparently the Heat are fed up with Josh McRoberts. A few people have said it.
Really?
And
because I saw his name and I thought he was interesting, but I don't know what he's making. I feel like his contract runs for quite a ways.
He's on the mid-level. It's exactly the same as, or pretty much exactly the same as Jamal's. It's got 2 more years on it.
The one good thing with McRoberts is he does pass well.
But he's an above-average defender now.
He's got 3 more years, and that's the problem.
Do you really care, though? Like, he's 27. He's going to be good for those years.
Yeah, you care because at least with Jamal, you're out of the deal after the year.
Yeah, I feel like signing Pierce is sort of, we have to win this season.
Yeah. Well, the name I ran across that was interesting to me was Trevor Booker.
I don't think Utah will.
I don't think Utah would do it. And, I don't think Utah would do it, but it's an interesting name. You'll never know what a team's going to do, I guess is what I should say.
Yeah, I just because McRoberts is gettable if the Heat are really fed up. Like, they're actually looking at moving him. Yeah,
you can get McRoberts. I wouldn't hate McRoberts. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I would actually like McRoberts on the team. I just wouldn't like his contract.
He's definitely an upgrade over anything in that front court off the bench.
Yeah, and it's going to be hilarious if we actually do get him. How many people compare him to Spencer Hall just because he's white, can pass, and shoots threes?
He's white and 6'10".
He's white, tall, shoots threes, and passes.
So that'll be fun. Very different. They're actually very different.
They're very different, but that never stopped anybody. What was I going to say about Jordan? There was something else to say about DeAndre Jordan. Oh, for all the people who are going to act like, for instance, let's say Jordan leaves. The people who act like he's somehow going to decline are insane. Like, he's not going to just leave the Clippers and then just suddenly decline. Like, that's not how that works. He's still 27. He's still young enough and in his prime, and he's still going to average like 13, 14 rebounds a game and probably about 12 points.
He might find it harder to get looks, I think, without Paul and Griffin. Like, you're not getting two better people in the league to get him looks.
He's going to find it hard to get looks, but I still think he would get more looks. Like, that's the thing.
He's getting more shots because he's on a team with less players. Or less players.
And that's the thing with everything is, like, you got to look at it. Like, every deal needs to be examined with the future cap in mind.
Yeah.
So, for instance, like, let's take Paul Millsap. Just signed for, like, $20 million a year, right?
Yeah.
Paul Millsap at $20 million sounds crazy just because it's Paul Millsap and his $20 million. But in 2 years, $20 million's what? $20 million's the new 35? Well, yeah, like in the comparable market, like $20 million now would be $35 million in the future.
Yeah.
So it's like if you go dollar for dollar and you scale down, you're right. It'd be about $12 million. I mean, for God's sake, Chris Middleton got $14 million a year, and people thought that was insane.
I thought it was a bargain.
I thought that's great. I was like, holy crap! Like Milwaukee locked him up for something reasonable, man. I mean, I think that was the most they could give him, but I mean, I think they could give him 5 years, right? But
Yeah.
either way, who cares? I wish we had someone like that.
We got some questions.
Okay, all right, let's do questions. I'm sorry.
What are the odds of DJ re-signing with the team after Paul Pierce?
Okay, before the offseason, I would have had this at 99%.
Yeah.
While the offseason was going on, I was down to basically 50-50. After the Pierce news, I'm probably about 75-25 that he resigns.
I think I had it at 95 before the season.
Yeah, you and I were close on that.
Yeah. I dropped it to about 80 after there was just talk about the rumors, and then probably about 60% was the lowest I went, but I'm at about 80 now, I think.
Yeah, I'm about 75-80 just because I don't think I don't think Pierce signs unless he gets some kind of idea that this is happening.
Yeah, why would Pierce? The only reason Pierce would take less is he's from LA, but he also wants to win a championship. If you're going to take less to win a championship, you're pretty much guaranteeing that DJ is going to be here, because this isn't really as good of a contender without DJ, obviously.
Right, you're not gonna play Blake Griffin at the 5 and go, oh, whatever happens, happens, and Pierce at the 4. Like, that's not how that works.
He's had to score a lot of points.
Yeah. Real quick before we get back to questions, Woj tweeted 12 minutes ago, Suns have legitimately closed the gap in pursuit of Aldridge. Tyson Chandler, perimeter talent, they're a real factor. Off topic with that one, though, if the Suns get Aldridge and they already have Chandler, that the top 3, and if DJ comes back to the Clippers, the top 3 in the Pacific.
Oh my God.
Yeah. They're gonna be 50+ win teams, possibly even 54 win teams.
I don't know, man. Imagine the Clippers, the Suns, and the Lakers. Come on, can't get any better than that.
That Warriors team is still going to be freaking ridiculous. Okay. No, I know what you mean though, but that Warriors team is still going to be.
Oh, no. They're still championship favorites.
Yeah, although Cleveland, if you want to believe that narrative,
there are different divisions in the playoff seeding though. Yeah,
it's only a year too late, For the because if that was in place this past postseason, the Clippers, if you give them the 3 seed, if you say, let's say division winners still get our division winners still getting the tiebreaker if they're the same record, but
yeah, I think.
But the seeds don't.
It's head to head, isn't it? So what if you won more against each other?
Is that what it would be?
Yeah.
Okay, so now the first tiebreaker is head to head.
Yeah.
What's the second tiebreaker? Does it go to conference record or division?
Well, if they're getting rid of divisions, I'd think that they're getting rid of all of it. All
right. Well, in that case, if it goes from head-to-head to conference, then the Clippers would have been the 2 seed and played Dallas. Yeah, that would have been great.
All right. Second question. Are you worried about Pierce following the pattern of let-down free agents in brackets Dudley and Hawes?
Well, really. Dudley wasn't a free agent signing, but I get the point. And he was injured
the whole season.
Yeah, Dudley was injured. Dudley was injured. Even Hawes was injured.
And he wasn't played right, but whatever. He was bad. He wasn't good.
It's funny. For as much crap as Spencer Hawes got, he still had a better season than Lance Stevenson. So that's always great.
But the upside's there with Stevenson.
Yeah, the upside's there.
Yeah.
It's going to be great, though, when Hawes reverts back to a good player in Charlotte, though. Do I think he goes? No, I don't. I think Pierce is different. I think Pierce and Doc get along so well that there's not going to be this, you're not going to see Pierce get benched for games after games. You know what I mean?
Like happened with both of those guys.
Yeah, so Pierce will always get minutes just because A, it's Paul Pierce, B, Doc Rivers loves Paul Pierce, and C, it's Paul Pierce, man. You're not just going to bench Paul Pierce. Do I think Paul Pierce is going to be amazing? No. I think Paul Pierce will be good enough.
What do you think the stat line will be?
What did he put up last year? Do you know?
No, have a look quick.
I'm trying to figure out because
Like,
I want to say 11.
I'd guess he'd go about 10 points. 3.
Okay,
4
last year
rebounds.
he averaged 12 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists on 45, 39. So
Pretty similar. I think he drops his points per game by about 1 or 2.
and he did it in 26 minutes a night, so he'll probably play roughly the same for the Clippers. You know, so.
But I think we could see a lot of offense-defense subs with Lance at the end of the game.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, the Clippers can play Pierce at the 4 in small ball, and it's like, that's going to work.
Against a lot of teams that, like, if you're playing the Warriors,
that's not going to work.
but if you like, he's not going to get massively torched by Draymond on one end, like something like that. Those modern power forwards, he could probably hold his own against most of them. Maybe better than he can against quick small forwards.
Right, and that's the thing. Like, I think he's like, okay, for instance, against the Warriors against Draymond, I think he'd be fine on both ends. I think they would actually cancel each other out. But against other teams, I don't know. It all depends on matchups, especially like, let's say Phoenix. Phoenix gets Aldridge, right? And Phoenix goes small with Aldridge at the 5 or Chandler at the 5, let's just say, and Aldridge is out of the game, and they go with one of the Morris twins, the 4. It's like Pierce can play that.
Yeah.
Like, and that's the thing. You need versatility. And that's why I think Pierce is going to be fine.
They just need to get something for Jamal. Like, you need a wing or a big man. You got to get a defensive wing or a defensive big man.
Apparently, Doc is trying hard to sign Kendrick Perkins, or is still interested, I should say.
Why?
There's 2 things Kendrick Perkins does well, which I got to give him credit. Everyone hates on him. I got to give Kendrick Perkins credit, though, for 2 things. 1, amazing screen setter. Number 2, great low post defender.
Yeah, but that's such an unused skill. Like,
that's the problem.
That was useful when they played the Lakers in the finals and he was defending Andrew Bynum. That's not useful when you got to go and check a guy like DeAndre Jordan who's rolling to the rim.
Oh, I agree with you. Those are just the only 2 things he does well, and that's the problem.
And like, what's he having Kendrick Perkins? You got Ekpe. You can just put Ekpe Udoh on the bench again if you really want to have a Perkins.
yeah, that's the problem.
Like, if you want a cheap defensive guy, I don't know. Who do you think's out there?
I'm sad I'm even saying it, but Wesley Johnson, like, he's not a good defender. I just feel like he's league average.
Like, Wesley Johnson, everything he does is meh. But meh, when you got this many good players, is sort of like doable.
Yeah, like, that's the thing. Like, Leandro Barbosa, for instance, meh for a lot of the year. And then somehow in the finals decided he was Jesus. So it's like, guys can be meh when they're the 12th or 11th guy. Like, I think people forget that. It's like, no, you don't need 15 studs. Like, that's not how that works.
Rasul Butler is still an unrestricted free agent.
He had a huge fall last year, though, after he started out so well.
I still think you can get him, and he can like shoot 36, 37, 38% from 3 for a year.
Yeah, it's just got to be right situations. What other questions you got? What other questions people send in?
Think it's realistically that we can pick up like Wilson Chandler or Gerald Green using Jamal, and if so, is it a smart move?
But that's the thing. Like, we can't pick up Gerald Green without Jamal, or with Jamal, like, because the Suns can't waive him now. And I don't think Green takes the minimum. Do you? Like, why would he?
He'll get more.
I'm trying to think here. Do I think he can get Wilson Chandler?
Luke Mbamute
no,
for the minimum.
But I think Denver could do it. like it'd have to be like Jamal and C.J. Wilcox. I think Denver could do it, but I don't think they would.
They'd have
Does
to
that
get
make
something
sense?
back that they liked, and there's really nothing the Clippers could give that they like. They're not trying
Yeah,
to
like that's
contend
the
next year. What's
thing.
Jamal going to do for them? CJ Wilcox didn't show anything last year because he didn't get a chance to. Like, even if he had 2 games where he scored like 10, 15 points, you could be like, this guy can be a role player in the NBA.
Yeah, like the thing with the Wilson Chandler situation too is like, okay, well, like what are you gonna say that Denver can do? It's like, oh, Denver holds on to Wilson Chandler, and oh, they're stuck with him. Not really. Like they can still A, move him at the trade deadline, or B, let him walk as a free agent at the end of the year because he's a free agent when Jamal is. So it's like Denver's holding all the cards there.
Yeah. And I just like there's nothing else that they want on the
Yeah,
Clippers.
like I wish Charlotte would take Jamal for Michael Kidd-Gilchrist, but that's not happening.
Do you know what I still can't get over? If
Huh.
the Clippers, why couldn't the Clippers put Jamal in the Matt Barnes and Spencer Hawes deal? Because Jamal Crawford could still be waived, and they'd have their Matt Barnes as a backup small forward, and they'd have Lance at the 2 guard. Like, is that
Maybe this might be a case where Doc overvalued the estimated market value of Jamal Crawford.
there's no player that they could get with Jamal that I think will be better than Matt Barnes. Like Barnes was pretty good last year. He shot it well from 3. He was a solid defender.
Yeah. The interesting thing, like this is actually funny because I wrote about this last year. I said it's really interesting for a team that is like so far behind in the analytical movement, like the Clippers are. The one guy that they had that was actually really heavily into like the analytical style of basketball was Matt Barnes, because the only things that guy ever did was take layups and shoot threes.
Yeah.
Now you're going to Paul Pierce, who takes a lot of mid-range jumpers, which is fine if you're making them. So it's kind of interesting, and that's why it didn't make sense to move Barnes instead of Jamal. But if Charlotte doesn't want Jamal, what are you going to tell them? You're going to have to take him? No.
Yeah, but like they're both were non-guaranteed deals. It's just, if they're waiving them, it's the same player in the end.
It is, but I think the savings might have been different. Did Charlotte save more by cutting Barnes than they would have if they cut Jamal?
I think it's like the same. They both had. Now Jamal is like a 1.5 guaranteed. Barnes is about at 1, so they would have saved about $500,000.
Yeah, see, so Charlotte saved him $500,000, which, let's be realistic, it doesn't sound like much, but when you're coming up against the cap, you know. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting. Clippers going to have to finagle their way into some deals that they have no business finagling their way into deals of. So,
All right, there's one more question it's about summer league, so I'll just read out the team or the players that we'd actually know.
Okay.
Where's the list? So the biggest player on it is probably Royce White.
In terms of name.
Yeah. So Brendan Dawson, their draft pick.
Okay.
Deontay Garrett.
Oh, Jarrett. Yeah.
Eric Griffin, who I got asked if he's related to Blake Griffin. I've been asked like 4 times. No, he's not. Jordan Hamilton, who should tear up Summer League. Like that dude should dominate it. Like if he does it, then that's pretty bad for his development.
Yeah, that's not ideal.
So I wouldn't know him, but yeah, Royce White, CJ Wilcox, he should also, like a second-year rookie who's turning 25 this year, he should tear up.
You gotta show up there.
And then a guy I really like, Nate Walters. Like I think he could be a rotation backup guard.
That's the interesting one. Well, there's 2, Nate Walters and Patrick Young.
Yeah.
Those are 2 interesting ones because with Walters, he was an NBA caliber backup before he got injured.
And they waived him before he got healthy, didn't they?
Yeah. And with Patrick, so like if he performs well and he gets a roster spot, well, that's a minimum value deal that you don't have to pay to somebody else.
Like, I mean, they signed Ekpe Udoh last year, and you can't tell me that like Young would be worse than him.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like Patrick Young does 2 things moderately well. He's strong in the post defensively, and he blocks shots, which has value as a 13th guy.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's worse things to do. And you know what's funny is I would give those guys the for instance, like the 12, 13 spots because A, they're young. B, if you have them under control to like cheap as hell team options for the future,
non-guaranteed like Philly do.
Yeah, not guaranteed. It's like basically here's what happens. If you cut them, it's whatever. But if they start producing and if they start getting better and if all this stuff happens, now you have guys locked into super cheap deals that you can spend elsewhere.
Like when Miami signed Hassan Whiteside, most people would just be like, all right, here's a minimum deal, play the rest of the season. Do you know what they did? Chucked on 2 extra non-guaranteed years. They've got him for 3 years on the league minimum, and he's starting for them.
Yeah,
stuff like that. Like, and guys that are almost out of the league or out of the league, they're not going to be like, I'm not signing because you're giving me non-guaranteed deals. They'll take the contract they can get.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this goes for the Clippers because I think Brandon Dawson sticks just because I can't even believe I'm about to say this. That could be their athletic wing defender. I wrote an article about him on Clips Nation the night we drafted him. It's like I don't hate him. I just know what he is.
He sort of fits. Like
he's different. Like he doesn't shoot at all. He's basically what Tony Allen would be in wing form, like in forward form, but like way worse. But not like obviously not even close to the level defensively, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So I mean, like I remember writing. I go, he played 4 years at Michigan State. He only took 9 threes in 4 years, and he didn't make any of them. From the free throw line this past year, I think he shot under 50%, which was a career worst. He's a terrible he's DeAndre Jordan, but like as a forward, and that's not great. But it could work.
Have heard Clippers have not formally reached out to Glenn Davis, but not necessary since interest already established on both sides. So Baby's going to be signed on the last day of free agency again.
Yeah, that's just basically Baby's just there in case.
Yeah.
Baby's the side chick, side piece.
He's not bad. For a minimum, you can do a lot worse.
Yeah, for a minimum, you can do a lot worse. That defensive real plus minus, baby. Superstar there. I'm curious to see what free agency does the rest of the time.
Yeah.
This is such a weird thing.
It's a fun free agency, though. A lot of shit going down.
I guess the whole idea that players are going to start taking less years for the future, like to get out of the contract while the cap jumps, that's not happening. So, yeah, this is going to be interesting. If there was no salary cap, Joe Johnson would be amazing for the Clippers at small forward. I
tried to think of a million different ways that they could trade for him, but the only contract big enough is Blake Griffin or Chris Paul.
Yeah, you can't do it. It's just not possible. I would love them if they waived them, but that's not going to happen.
Yeah, they're not going to do that. But they nearly traded him to the Grizzlies, so they clearly got deals out there.
For what? What they almost traded him for?
No, there was a report that it was close, and then it fell apart at the end.
Like,
it would
is
have
there
been
salary?
It would have been like Jeff Green, Courtney Lee, and another player.
Oh my God, another trade. Sorry, everybody. Dude, this is what I deal with every day.
I could not live there.
This is what I and they go by a ton. Oh man! Apparently, the Women's World Cup is still going on. It's England, Japan, so that's fun.
I can't believe Paul Millsap turned down a full 100% max offer from Orlando.
Which tells you everything you know about Orlando, and maybe Millsap really just trusts himself.
Yeah, to not get hurt and earn the bigger payday.
Yeah. Oh my God! I'm sorry, Craig. England just scored an own goal to go down 2-1 to Japan in the last minute.
Hang on, I've got something even bigger.
Okay.
The New York Knicks, Los Angeles Clippers, and Sacramento Kings have expressed interest in Dante Jones. Like, what did he do last year? What did he do? I'd rather have Jordan Hamilton than him. Like, keep Jordan Hamilton. If they sign him and don't keep Jordan Hamilton. If the Kings and the Knicks have interest in someone, I think it should be a rule that you shouldn't have interest in them.
That's like when you back away, like, okay, I know this is bad. Man. England just lost on that own goal. That is the worst loss ever. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to hijack with. That's brutal, man. That's brutal.
They need a small forward. They need a center, backup center, and a starting center would be nice. DeAndre Jordan. I don't know what's happening with Austin Rivers.
I don't know.
Did you see that tweet?
Yeah, I didn't read too much into that. Everyone else, like every time an athlete tweets something, they're a free agent. Everyone like freaks, right?
Well, like Jamal Crawford would all his tweeting. He gets depressed in the off season, man.
He's the worst. Like he's like I don't even know. He's like a person who just got broken up with.
So anyway, he said, "I'll be even better next year. No question. Well, it's hard to be worse." That's what he said yesterday.
I'm trying to think. Like Austin Rivers, for 3 years and like $6 million is fine with me. I don't really care.
$2 million.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's like a minimum. Yeah, or the minimum the year after that.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I don't want like if you give him that, then you're closer to the hard cap. You can't sign as many minimum guys.
Well, yeah. Plus, I think they just need to see what the hell happens with DeAndre. It's like I feel like Doc's just telling Austin, "Can you just wait? Can you just wait? Like, well, let's see what happens." I predicted DeAndre signs on July 4th, so we'll see.
Yeah. Hopefully he doesn't sign tomorrow, because tomorrow's my birthday. I don't really want to be writing.
Well, he does have the meeting with the Clippers tomorrow, so
yeah, that's gonna be annoying. Anyway,
he had a 4.5-hour meeting with Dallas today. Like, what the hell could you even talk about for 4.5 hours?
Have you seen how Chandler Parsons has been following around free agents?
Yeah, that's not as bad as the Lakers fan kid, though.
Oh my god!
That kid is.
What is it? Hashtag count on air.
Count on RA. RA. RA.
Yeah.
Count on Craig. Count on Craig. Don't count on me. I'll tell you that much. Oh yeah, and the funny thing about me yesterday is I tweeted if I was like the 76ers would take Kobe off the Lakers' hands if the Lakers just took the protection off next year's pick and gave them a future one. I guess people thought I was I think people thought I was like breaking news. It's like, no, I'm just tweeting something. Like I'm pretty sure the 76ers would do that though.
Surely they would. And then they just wouldn't play Kobe all year.
Yeah, they'd cut him. They'd waive him. I think they would. I think they just waive him.
Who would he sign with to piss off the Lakers the most? Because he'd be pissed off with the Lakers. Who would he sign with?
Not the Spurs. He wouldn't go to the Spurs.
I couldn't see the Spurs. I think the Clippers makes sense. They piss off the Lakers. That he almost signed with the Clippers.
Yeah, in like 04. Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it 04? I think it was like 04.
Like that'd be the one thing he'd be like, okay, we'll go piss him off.
Yeah, they I don't know where he would sign, honestly. I think he would just cry. I mean, Philadelphia might even just keep him to sell tickets because he is a local kid.
Yeah.
So it's like, hey, we might suck, but come watch this local guy.
You got anything else to chat about? Quickly, I got a free agency list up. What do you think about Luke Mbah-a-Moute on a minimum? Wing, forward, defender. He's not bad on defense now.
He's so I feel like we already have him. That's Brandon Dawson.
Yeah. But like vets are always better defenders than rookies. The rookies make rookie mistakes. You know.
No, you're 100% right. It's just I don't know. I don't know. Is there anybody else?
Will Amari sign for the minimum?
He could. I mean, God, I forgot he even exists.
Darrell Wright, will he sign for the minimum? I don't think so, but
if I were him, I would not.
He's a very good shooter.
He's a great shooter. It's just I don't know if I would do it if I were him. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm sorry I keep looking to the right. My laptop's to the right, so if anybody watching this, like, that's what I keep looking at because there's every news ever.
Point guard.
You know what's really interesting, actually, is well, hold on.
Ben Gordon just got waived by Orlando, and like he wasn't terrible last year. If you just want him as a spot up shooter, do a lot.
You know what's funny, and this has nothing to do with the Clippers though. Tobias Harris, like his list of suitors is slowly going down. Like pretty soon you're gonna get a brawl between the Lakers and like Detroit over Tobias Harris. Like seriously.
Orlando will match. I don't think Orlando will match.
I don't think they will. There was something I read the other day that said Orlando's not going to match a max offer for him.
But I hope they do, because then Harkless becomes available. Because there's no way they're keeping Harkless, Hazonia, and like Aaron Glenn.
P.S. Mario Hazonia, the greatest NBA player of all time. We can retire his jersey already.
So good. He's like jumps to one of my favorite players ever. Already.
I remember I talked about leading up to the draft. I was like, he's a cocky, arrogant bastard, but he's great. And then like everyone got introduced to his like cockiness, and like everyone loved him. You know,
and you could steal Andre Miller for the minimum away from George Karl.
No, I just think Andre Miller's such a Karl guy.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of who else is out there. This is a really weird free agency. Who did you say? Ish Smith?
Yeah.
Feel like the Sixers bring him back.
He's 27. What?
Yeah.
I thought he was like 23. Anyway.
He's been around for...
CJ Watson.
Yes,
that guy.
that's the one. CJ Watson would be really interesting. You know who's also interesting? Jameer Nelson.
Yeah. Well, if now gets traded again.
He's
the
always
dude's been
traded.
What was it? 4 trades or 5 trades in like a day?
I don't even know. Poor guy.
You know, he lost track. He didn't check him. He lost track of how many times he got traded, and then just checked his phone later to see what team he was on.
I feel bad for him.
And he's not. He could be a backup point guard. Like he's a decent backup point guard.
Here's interesting stuff. Patrick Beverly, but obviously he's restricted. Biyombo's interesting just because you can get him for the minimum, probably.
No, I don't think you can.
I don't know. I read someone on the Twitter sphere that apparently only Twitter loves him and NBA teams don't.
Yeah, I know, but I still think someone can go $2 million or something. A team with free agency, the Lakers.
Maybe. Lavoy Allen's still out there, who I like. Quincy Acey could be interesting. I know he signed, but the Alexis and Jinsa deal was so great for New Orleans.
Pretty long term.
Good deal.
Dude's a bad defender, though. Good scorer.
He's freakishly long, and I think that's the big part. And he hits mid-range jumpers, and he blocks shots, and he's a good rebounder. So, Omri Caspi is an interesting choice, but you're probably not going to get him for the minimum. I'm just looking through a list of alphabetized names. Let's see. Who else is out there? Drew Gooden, no.
How much will Alonzo G go for?
Minimum?
I feel like it's more, but if you can get it for the minimum. I think Alonzo G is pretty good.
He has his moments, and that's fine. I'm looking through this. It's like you're starting into the barren wasteland of people. Costa Koufos, that's an interesting one, but he's going to get an MLE.
Way more.
Yeah, he's gonna get MLE from somebody, which is fine.
He'll get more than the mid-level. I reckon he'll go for about 6 or 7.
You think so? You think he'll get more than
Yeah, he wants
Brandon Wright?
Yeah, I think he's better than Brandon Wright.
KJ McDaniels is still out there, but he's restricted.
Andrea Bargnani.
Yeah, no.
Brandon Bass. I don't mind Brandon Bass.
I don't mind Brandon Bass, but he's going to go for more than the minimum.
Aaron
Perkins. Who?
Aaron Baines.
I feel like he just sticks with San Antonio.
Yeah, but I think if you chucked a minimum at him, San Antonio before that, they're not going to tie up cap space before they get Aldridge. Like they're not even going to care.
Two guys that I would actually love the Clippers to pick up for no other reason than just to have them: Glenn Robinson III and Thomas Robinson.
Thomas Robinson never really shown anything. Like I still don't know if he can play in the NBA.
I would love him just because he hustles and he rebounds. And off the bench is like a fourth big. That's all you need.
Yeah, but like Glenn Davis, I think, is better than him.
Yeah, oh, yeah, but at the same time, it's almost like his minimum will be lower than Davis's, I think.
Jeremy Evans?
He could work.
Reggie Evans.
He could work. I'd love to bring him back just for what he does. Marcus Thornton's interesting, but he's going to get quite a bit more.
Is Gerald Wallace a free agent? No, he's got one more year.
That's next year.
Psycho T?
He's a free agent.
Yeah.
Yeah, CJ Watson's interesting as a backup point guard. David West, if he's willing to take nothing for the
off free agent again.
Restricted though.
Is he?
Yeah, restricted.
Yeah, he is.
So yeah, no, but in short, like there's interesting guys. You just gotta know where to look, and you gotta hope to God they take minimum deals. Like
yeah,
like after this now, it's just minimum deals. Like if you resign DeAndre Jordan, it's all minimum stuff, and that's why I'm in favor of signing younger guys. Like if you can get younger guys for minimum deals, it's like it's kind of two birds with one stone in some way. But Doc loves his vets, man.
Well, you know what you're getting from vets, and that's the big thing.
Yeah, if you know what you're getting, that's half the battle.
Yeah. All right. Nice pod, man.
Yeah, it kind of ran long. I apologize.
Oh, good. Right.
Doc Rivers interested in signing Kendrick Perkins to Clippers, and I cry. Oh, also we looked at Carlos Boozer, so that's fun.
All right, we'll end it there.
Yeah, I'm sorry. All right, man.
See you guys.
Later.